Well, tremendous job opportunities lie ahead for Barbadian artisans and others with technical skills in Guyana's burgeoning oil and gas industry. This suggestion from Barbados Ambassador to CARICOM David Commichong, and he was a guest on CBC TV 8's Morning Barbados.
When we had the Trinidad oil and gas industry, we didn't have the CSME at that time. We didn't have the Skills National Program. So those jobs were reserved for Trinidadians. Now it is different. So if we have Barbadians qualifying at our Samuel Jackman Institute of Technology with these technical skills, you get your CARICOM skills certificate, and Guyana and that oil and gas industry is open to you.
Barbadians coming home for Regathering 2020 have a special connection to their past. And in tonight's edition of #246, Shane Jones looks at one of the island's greatest symbols of yesteryear.
Barbadians see ourselves as a resilient people, a society that stands up for its rights, and quite frankly, an emancipated society. And that belief, that vision, the way we see ourselves can be summed up in one place, and that is the Emancipation Statue, affectionately known as the Bussa Statue. Bussa was born a free man in West Africa of possible Igbo descent and was captured by African slave merchants, sold to the British, and transported to Barbados in the late 18th century as a slave. Not much is known about him, and there are no records of him prior to this date. There's virtually no biographical information about Bussa. However, records show a slave named Bussa worked as a ranger on Bailey's plantation in St. Philip around the time of the rebellion. Now, that privileged position would have given him more freedom of movement than the average slave and would have made it easier for him to plan and coordinate the rebellion. Preparation for this rebellion began soon after the House of Assembly discussed and rejected the Imperial Registry Bill in November 1815, which would have registered colonial slaves. Historians believe that slaves interpreted some of the parliamentary proposals as preparatory to emancipation and took action when freedom did not take place. The planning was undertaken at a number of sugar estates, including Bailey's plantation where it began. By February 1816, Bussa was an African driver, one of the few in this position. He and his collaborators decided to start the revolt on the 14th of April, that was Easter Sunday. Bussa, King Rocher, Dick Bailey, and Johnny led the slaves into battle at Bailey's plantation on Tuesday, the 16th of April. He commanded some 400 freedom fighters, both men and women, most of whom were believed to be Creole born in the islands. He was killed in battle. His forces continued the fight until they were defeated by superior firepower of the colonial militia. The rebellion failed, but its influence was significant to the future of Barbados. And Bussa still stands today as a history lesson of where we've come from, but also a symbol of where we can be.
#246 was brought to you with the kind compliments of the Caribbean Broadcasting Corporation.
And still to come in news from the region, an increase in babies born prematurely in Antigua and Barbuda. Then a bit later in sports, the Scorpions continue to push for a playoff berth in the Super 50 Cup. But of course, before we get to all of that action, here is that tip from Cooperators General Insurance.
This tip of the day is brought to you by Cooperators General Insurance Company Limited. Insurance the way you want it to be.
1 in every 2 people with diabetes is undiagnosed. Early diagnosis and treatment is important to help prevent or delay life-threatening complications. This tip is brought to you in association with the Diabetes Association of Barbados. Let's protect our families.